Thank you very much, Natalie. Yes, the manifesto was finished at 1 o'clock this morning, so if you spot any typos, it's my fault because I was tired. I didn't realise until I was asked by the BBC this morning, they said, well, UKIP are standing a record number of candidates, are you? And I thought, well, I'm not sure. Luckily, I'd still kept a copy of our last manifesto and the one before that. So I can happily say that we are standing a record number of candidates. We're standing in 88% of the seats in Essex. In fact, there's only 3 districts where we're not standing a full slate. And one of them, it's only because we're one short. So it's a tremendous effort. And Phil over there, who will no doubt try and hide when I say this, has basically acted well beyond the call of duty in being responsible for getting most of the candidates in our less favoured areas up and running, including some interesting encounters with voters in Basildon, I understand. But he did an absolutely fantastic job. So, yeah, we've got a record number of candidates. We also, at this election, have a very realistic chance of our first county councillors. In this division here, we finished second last time, a good second. And, of course, since then, we've had Michael Hoy and his wife elected down in Rochford. They've both got substantial majorities. They're working very hard. So in this atmosphere, as Natalie said, of people looking for alternatives, looking for fresh voices, we do stand a chance. I have to say here it's going to be a very tough fight, because if you look at the numbers, it's probably a 3-way, possibly even a 4-way marginal. But we're doing everything we possibly can. And if anybody wants to come and help us, it's all circulated, all the details. And I know, looking around the room, a lot of you already are. So what would we do if we got into County Hall? Well, the first thing we'd do, as I was saying to Natalie this afternoon, is we'd start knocking on a few doors to find out what's behind them. Because County Hall really, as far as I'm concerned, as someone who's a councillor and has been for 14 years, is the ultimate ivory tower. They give all the impression that they're listening, they're wonderful, but actually they're grandiose, they're narrow-minded, they keep information to themselves, they don't want to give out, they don't allow the public to get actively involved. Consultations are a tick-box exercise. And the worst thing of all, the thing that really grates with me, is they do all that and claim the highest allowances in East Anglia. As we've said on our leaflets, and in fact I did have a phone call from one resident about this. He said, are you sure about this? He said, 5 of them get over 50 grand a year. I said, absolutely. He said, you prove it. So I had to send him the evidence, because he didn't believe me. He just couldn't believe that councillors, and as councillors, there's a very strong element of what we do is voluntary, should be being paid double the national average wage, full-time wage. So there's lots of issues about how we'd like to change County Hall. Now, the BBC asked me this morning, well, how will you do that if only 2 of you get elected? Because I was completely upfront. I said, that's probably, we might get 2 elected. But of course, Greens are very good at working with like-minded people, because we don't come into the election saying we're going to change everything on our own. We know we'll have to work with others, but we have the advantage that we don't run a party whip, and we're always looking to try and cooperate with other people. So we've already had discussions with independents. The same conversations are going on in Suffolk and Norfolk. So the idea would be, if we can get Greens in and independents get in, then, assuming that the things we want to do, there's a good crossover, we'd be trying to work with them. And indeed, probably short of UKIP and the BNP, work with councillors across the party spectrum. I don't think we'd have an awful lot in common with them, but who knows? BNP is probably, it would be a bridge too far, but certainly on Braintree District Council, when you have a council which has an overwhelming Conservative majority, and at County Hall that's the same thing, you have to talk to the Conservatives, you have to talk to Labour occasionally, because if you don't, you'll get nothing done. So we're open to sensible discussions with people across the party spectrum about how we can get these things of essential reform and also a better service for taxpayers. And I won't drum on too much, but that, I think, is a very important thing for this election, is on the doorstep and in our leaflets explaining to people just what a big deal Essex County Council is. Its annual budget is over £2 billion a year. I mean, that's more than some governments. It's absolutely colossal. And it has enormous powers over planning, education, social services, highways. And this is one area we particularly want to make a difference on, is there a woeful highway service from the last couple of years, which isn't just an issue of potholes looking bad or paths being cracked. Of course, it's a safety issue. and a lot of people are reporting damage to vehicles. It's obviously very dangerous to cyclists, pedestrians, disabled people. So there's an awful lot we can do if we get elected on May the 2nd, and with your help, we're going to give it our best shot. Thank you very much.